those guys again on the Tiananmen Square.
That gate is actually called Tiananmen. Men in Chinese means the gate. So Tiananmen can be translated into English, the gate of heavenly peace. The gate of heavenly peace. So the name of the square actually comes from that huge gate. And that gate, the gate of heavenly peace, was the main entrance to the Forbidden City. Chinese people consider the Tiananmen Square the heart of the country. That's why many Chinese people always dream of having a chance to visit the famous square. This is not only a tourist attraction, but also a very sensitive political spot, since some things happen on the square. And nowadays, this square is a place where the people hold celebrations. Also, the local people would like to come here to fly their kites. Tiananmen Square is one of the biggest city squares in the world. It covers a total length of 880 meters from the north to south, and 550 meters from the west to the east. So you can just imagine it's about the same size of 60 soccer fields. 60 soccer fields. The Museum of Chinese History and the Museum of Chinese Revolution. So that museum was built in 1959, the 10th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. And that is the monument to the heroes of the people, which was set up for the soldiers who died during the revolutionary period. And that is the Tiananmen Mausoleum, or Tiananmen Memorial Hall. Because Tiananmen Mao died in 1976, and that building was finished in 1977. And after he died, his body was preserved, and his body is put in a crystal coffin. And every night the crystal coffin will be lowered down to underground in a freezer, and every morning they will raise up the coffin up. The people actually can go there and visit, can go there and see his body.
Those statues are soldiers, peasants, and workers who represent different classes of people. And those were carved out of stone.
The Great Hall of the People. This is like our National Congress. So most of the important political meetings will be held in this building. This is just the Beihai Park, just next to the Forbidden City, to the north of the Forbidden City, Beihai Park. Actually, Beihai means the North Sea. The lake here is called the North Sea, and the North Sea Park actually had a very long history. Originally, it was built in the 10th century. So had a history about more than 1,000 years. the North Sea was actually named by the Mongolians when they came to Beijing during the Yuan dynasty. As you know, the Yuan emperors were all nomads from Mongolian steppe, so they hadn't seen a so big body of water during that time. So when they came to Beijing, they saw so big body of water. They thought this just like a sea, so they named this the North Sea. Of course, there was a Middle Sea and South Sea, so there are 3 lakes nearby. So that's why this place is called the North Sea Park. Originally, it was a palatial palace for the Liao dynasty. A palatial palace for the Liao dynasty. After that, this garden was widened from one dynasty to another dynasty. But in the Ming and Qing dynasties, most of the emperors would like to come to this garden to enjoy, the beautiful sceneries here. That big white pagoda was built in 1651 during the early Qing dynasty, during the Emperor Yongzheng's reign. So that is a kind of Buddhism Buddha, a Buddhism pagoda, because the emperors in the Qing dynasty wanted to unify all the nationalities in China, especially the Tibetan people. So they built a big white pagoda. In the middle of this lake, there was a big isle. It's called the Jade Flowery Island. So the island lies in the middle. And originally, on the side of the white pagoda, there was a pavilion in the moon, and that was the place where Kublai Khan received Marco Polo when he came to Beijing in the Ming dynasty. In the Yuan dynasty.
Those two Chinese sculptures formed by the little stones means America or the States. And another 2 characters next to the America is China. And those smiling face.
欢迎大家来中国 ，Welcome to China。Standing at the East Palace Gate, today will first take us to the political building, the Summer Palace, the Hall of Benevolence and Longevity, where the emperors handle state affairs or receive officials when they came to the Summer Palace.
And that big rock just block our view of the Hall of Benevolence and Longevity behind. And we can say this is a kind of Chinese gardening. Whenever you go through an entrance, you can never see the important building at your first sight. Usually they would put a rock or a screen in front of you, and you can never see the important building or important thing at your first sight. But after you walk around, you get a wider view. So this is a kind of Chinese gardening. Qilin is considered one of the 9 sons of dragon. So dragon have 9 sons together, and you can see Qilin got a head of dragon, antlers of deer, hooves of ox, tail of lion, and there were scales on his body. So Qilin was considered an auspicious animal because people believed Qilin can ward off evil spirits. And people also believe if the enemy touched the horn of Qilin, the enemy would be dead. So the Qilin was put here to guard the whole complex for the emperor. The hall of benevolence and longevity, and this was the political building in the summer palace. It had the same function with the Hall of Great Harmony in the Forbidden City. So when the emperors came to the summer palace, or the empress Dowager Cixi came, they would sit in the throne in the middle of this building and handle state affairs. It's called the Hall of Benevolence and Longevity. Actually means the ones who show benevolence on the people's government would live a long life. So that's the meaning of the name of this building. You know, this building was the first place where Chinese people use electricity lights. That's the yellow throne for the emperor and empress, or the Empress Dowager Cixi. And behind that throne there was a big mirror. On the mirror there were hundreds of Chinese characters' longevity. And so this mirror was actually made for the Empress Dowager Cixi because she wanted to live a long life. The tower is the symbolic building of the summer palace, and that is the tower of Buddhist incense. So that is the religious building in the summer palace for Buddhism. That is a small island in the lake called Fairyland. There were some religious building on that Fairyland, and the Fairyland is linked by a 17-arch bridge with the mainland. The 17-arch bridge. On the balustrade of the bridge, there were altogether 544 stone lines in different carving style. And then we are going to walk to the Hall of Happiness and Longevity. That was the living quarter of the emperor or the Empress Dowager Cixi in different periods. Look at those little windows. Those little windows in different shapes. Hey, here we got to the living quarter of the summer palace. The Hall of Joyful Longevity. The Hall of Joyful Longevity. So there were altogether 3 chambers here in this building. The middle chamber was the sitting room where the emperor or the Empress Dowager Cixi received the officials. And the west chamber was the bedroom. The west chamber was the bedroom where the emperor slept or the Empress Dowager Cixi slept. And the eastern chamber was the dining room. And then we are going to walk around the long corridor, or the long covered walkway. Since this is the most famous covered walkway in China, because it's just like a gallery. There were altogether 14,000 different paintings on the beams and cross beams of that corridor. So this is very famous in China. We're going to walk along the long corridor at the bank of the Kunming Lake until we get to the marble boat. Of course, we're going to get across the hill, the Longevity Hill, and we are going to get after the garden through the west gate. That's okay?
Mom will love it.
The gate of inviting the moon is the starting point of this long corridor, or the covered walkway. And this is the most famous long corridor in China, because there were altogether 14,000 different paintings on the beams and cross beams of the long corridor. Lying on the ground with his stick in his hand is called Monkey King. Now he is half human being, half monkey. He's one of the three disciples of the master. He is very powerful because he can protect his master to the west. And the monk, the master, is standing over there with putting his two hands together. Actually, he is chanting. When he chants, the Monkey King got a headache. So this is the only way to punish the Monkey King, because Monkey King killed someone who is actually evil, but the master could not tell his evil. Only the Monkey King can tell. So the master thought Monkey King killed someone, so he must punish Monkey King. That's why he is chanting. This is called a pailo in Chinese, a kind of archway, usually were built in front of the main entrances. So we are not standing at the central axis of the summer palace, actually.
My name is Zhang Li. This three. I studied 3 years, this year, last year.
This is a famous marble boat in the summer palace, and this was built just for the Empress Dowager Cixi. She would like to sit on the second deck and took some cake and cookies and enjoy the beautiful scenery on the Kunming Lake. This is the original picture of the landscapes lying behind this screen, because those buildings had been destroyed. Those are the original European-style palaces in the Garden of Perfection and Brightness. But that palace was burned down in 1860 by the Anglo-French allies, and the only thing left are those ruins. This is called Ding in Chinese, which represented stability. And this was actually set up when Hong Kong returned to the motherland, because this garden was destroyed by the Anglo-French allies, and Hong Kong was ruled by the English for over 100 years. So this was put here just to commemorate those events happened in the Chinese history.
Labyrinth.
Labyrinth.
A labyrinth?
Labyrinth, right. I cannot pronounce that very well. It's a place where you get lost. Cannot find a way out if you go in. Wow. So this was the place where the concubines of the emperor had found.